I've learned a lot over the years out of necessity because West Chiswick and Gunnersbury area is a hot spot for development. So it's not my background, but I have spent a lot of time reading planning applications, looking at planning officers' reports and basically learning the trade, if you like. So I'm not a planner, I'm actually a research biochemist, but I've learnt a lot about planning, so I don't claim to know it all, but I understand some of the process.
You've been involved in the process that has seen off 2 or 3 similar plans on the same site. What makes you think that we've got a reasonable chance of stopping this from happening? Because it seems to me that they have got preliminary planning permission agreed.
Well, they've had a lot of pre-application discussion, which is normal now for big developments. So certainly the developers will claim that the planners are happy with what they're proposing. But we're aware that what is proposed is not in conformity either with the local plan, which was only adopted last autumn, with the London plan, or indeed with the NPPF, which is the national planning policy. So we feel that we have a strong case because it really doesn't conform to these important policies that Hounslow has just approved in the last 6 months.
Well, you say that, but Hounslow has also said that they're going to rewrite the local plan. It clearly isn't worth the paper it was written on.
Well, the part they want to rewrite, and that's a very significant point, the part they want to rewrite, or one of the parts, is the so-called Great West Corridor. And that's one of the reasons why what happens at the Chiswick Curve site is so important, because it's not just that building on that site, but this will set the context for the so-called Great West Corridor. And it's not yet defined exactly where that corridor is and what's included in it. But if our fear is that the corridor could spread to engulf great chunks of residential Brentford and Chiswick in order to make it a big area, in order that they can get the level of development and regeneration that is part of the council's vision.
I would say that was almost certain. So just run through, if you would, the list of objections there are to this building.
Right, well there's a whole range, but one that I'd pick out straight away is that this site is, in our view, totally inappropriate for residential development. It is in a highly polluted hotspot. The whole borough has issues with pollution, but sitting on the Chiswick roundabout, it is a nightmare scenario to contemplate residential development to that site. Plus all the traffic. It's virtually on an island surrounded by traffic. So there's noise, there's pollution, the difficulty of just crossing the road if you live there. So that's one big issue. So if you like, it's what quality of life would the new residents of such a development have? The next one is the impact on the quality of life of existing residents. So having this massive, totally out of scale development at the end of your road, which is 2-storey Victorian villas and a conservation area. So there's that impact and the additional impact it will have on traffic and on public transport. Because living where I do, I'm very conscious of the issues we now have at Gunnersbury Station. That is the existing issues of crowding and being unable to use your own local station in the rush hour. And this is only going to get worse if we add 320 flats plus other development at this site. And the Gunnersbury will be the main public transport. And they will be encouraged to use public transport quite rightly because they won't have any cars because there will be very little parking.
But to be fair, if they develop the Great West Corridor, there will be new infrastructure with that, including new stations.
Indeed, but it's typical of Hounslow. They're putting the cart before the horse because they say, let's have all this development, it will bring transport. But their track record is terrible. They haven't yet managed to get the footbridge from the Chiswick Business Park or even a bus stop in the right place after 15 years. So this game-changing transport that they want, we want the infrastructure first. We want an infrastructure catch-up. And then let's talk about more development.